All right, welcome to the Junto Podcast. Excited for another community spotlight. And if you've never stopped by or if you're new to the Junto Podcast, we are a podcast that is about community and leadership, typically framed around the perspective of faith. So happy to be doing another community spotlight today with my buddy Brad Moore. And Brad, how you doing today, man?
I'm good, Jeremy. How about yourself, buddy?
Man, I'm good. Life is good. Kids are healthy. So I'm thankful for that. And
absolutely. Lord blessed us.
Come on, didn't he?
Yes,
Love
sir.
that. When we're talking about a community spotlight, obviously there's some recognition that we need to have. And I know that this is a busy time here in Crittenden County, not only here in Crittenden County, but probably in your state as well, with local things going on. And we wanted to bring you on, Brad, and talk a little bit about what you got going on in the community, and tell people why you're here. Why are we highlighting you today in the community?
Well, for one thing, we're highlighting is I've decided to run for city council in the city of Marion. I've been asked a couple of times, "What do you think? What are your thoughts on running for council again?" And I push people to the back burner. So me and my family started praying about it, talking to other folks about it. Some of my mentors, and God led us this way, and here we are. We decided to throw our names in the hat, and we're doing this as a team.
Wow, awesome. It always helps to have a support system, and to have people on your side and people to encourage you. And I know that how important that is, not only in life, but tell us, because you said that you're running again. Tell us what happened the first time.
Yeah, 4 years ago, I threw my name in the hat to run for Marion City Council. I ran against an individual that his family has been very involved in the politics in this county and city for decades.
Wow, yeah.
Decades. Unfortunately, we fell short by a few little votes. I thought it was a great campaign, great time. Like I said, we did fall short by like 70 votes. So I figured, hey, it's a good thing for a gentleman that's been gone out of this county for just about all of his life to move back, only been here like 6 years at that time, and decided to run. So I thought it was a pretty good, successful campaign, even though we didn't win.
Man, that's awesome. I certainly am involved. I try to stay aware of what's going on. I wouldn't consider myself highly political, but I'm thankful. I'm thankful for people who decide to run, because I genuinely believe that politics, when it's done correct, it is a service position, right?
Absolutely.
You're serving your community because you have ideas or you have vision of things that could change for the better, and so that's awesome. And I like too, because I'm always looking for ways to encourage people, and the fact that you said, "Look, I did this 4 years ago. It didn't quite turn out the way I wanted it to, and now you're throwing your hat in it again." But I like how you said that you've got a support team with your family, and you've taken it to the Lord for that. So I always love that, and I think it's a great encouragement. Maybe it's an inspirational thing for me because we may not always get it the first time, right?
That's right.
And it's good.
And the Lord wasn't ready for us to be there, so when the Lord's willing, it's going to happen.
Awesome, man. Tell us about this process. It's probably, has it been easier or harder the second time around? What do you think?
Well, I think it's actually been harder this time because just all the other community event organizations I'm involved with, it seems like it's been a very busy community season over the last 4 months. We contribute a little bit at that to COVID being shut down for a while and getting back going, open back out. But as my good buddy Grannon always says, we're back outside.
Exactly, we're back outside.
We're back
man.
outside of everything's kicking back off, and it's been a very busy last 4 to 6 months. So.
Man, yeah. Let's give people some insight. How far in advance, once you know you're going to run, how far in advance do you prepare? How much time is involved?
Well, my planning started back in February. We didn't make the decision until mid to late June.
Wow.
So it's been going on since June, getting everything together.
Wow.
And to move forward. So, yes.
That's awesome, man. Well, I know that's a process, and I know what it is to be committed to something. And, you're running for city council. Tell us what ward or what position that is. And then tell us, Brad, what are some of your goals? When you decided to run, what made you do it, and what do you hope to see? Let's say that you get elected. What are your goals, and what is your plan for the city of Marion?
Well, Marion's Marion's a unique city when it comes to the boundaries of how the wards are set up. We've got 3 wards in the city of Marion. However, each ward has 2 spots. However, the whole city votes on every ward.
Wow.
So it's not just your ward voting for you. You got Ward 3, 2, and 1 all voting for each other.
Wow.
What I hope to see out of this, with my experience that I've gained out of one of my positions I hold in the Fire Association, being legislative chairman, have that knowledge of how things work at the Capitol. I hope one of my biggest goals is to be able to have that connection on the council to the state legislative body to bring more things to Crittenden County, and not just Crittenden County itself, but Marion as a whole. I feel that this side of the state's being left out because we are in part of the Delta.
Yeah.
And most people don't know this, but we're the largest hub in the state of Arkansas. We have the 2 major interstate systems running through here.
Interesting.
And all transportation runs through Crittenden County, whether it be rail, road, or by the Mississippi River. So we're pretty inclined there. So I've got a couple goals far as what I want to see happen within the city council. One, more for Marion.
Gotcha. More for Marion.
More progress.
Okay.
More jobs. More things like that. Our infrastructure system needs to be improved. So more infrastructure.
Wow.
And our public safety. Not saying that we have a large crime base in Marion.
Right.
But we are in the footsteps of crossing the bridge in Memphis. So when I say public safety, I mean increase the infrastructure of our public safety, whether it be fire or police, higher raises for our public safety workers to be more competitive with our neighbors so we can keep people here.
Wow.
And it's time to increase our firefighters here in the city of Marion.
Wow.
We have a unique situation going on there. We're considered a combination department. To increase our economy, we have to increase our infrastructure at our fire department, meaning not just our buildings and our trucks, because, we need some remodeling going on there. However, it's time for us to increase our manpower, our 24-hour manpower. Right now we have 4-day full-time firefighters on a department. Everybody else is what's considered volunteers. Great volunteer-based fire department, but we need to increase our 24-hour full-time guys to make a good combination so we can increase our economy.
Wow. I know that anybody that's local that will hear this, they're going to be shaking their head, and they're going to know exactly what you're talking about, because infrastructure and things of that nature, every local community has things specific to it that you can go, okay, we need work in this area. And very interesting plan there, interesting goals. And, I know that the plans that you have, I know your intentions are good, only to see the community of Marion, advanced. And that's really our goal. Tell me a little bit, because you mentioned that you're or that you're a firefighter. So I know people would be interested, because I'm always interested. We support our first responders, not only at the Junto podcast, but every organization I'm a part of. We support our first responders. So tell me a little bit about your role there, and then how has being in the fire department with your particular role, how do you think that has prepared you for what you're thinking for city council?
Yeah, Jeremy, I'm going on my 19th year as a firefighter in the state of Arkansas.
Wow.
First to start year 11 with the city of Marion. I currently hold the role of a training officer for the department. So my main role is to keep all training up to date.
Wow.
We're required by the state of Arkansas on a funding mechanism that's tied to our training to keep so many hours a year. So my job is to make sure every firefighter we have hits that number of hours every year, so we don't lose our funding from the state on that. What I would say is, over the 19 years, I've part of an organization called the Arkansas State Firefighters Association. And about 7-8 years ago, I was elected by my peers across the state to serve as the legislative chairman.
Wow.
For the State Firefighters Association to represent all firefighters, not just paid firefighters, not just volunteer, but all firefighters in the state of Arkansas.
Wow, man.
And in that job, my main job is to watch legislation, what comes across the both bodies in the state capitol for the betterment of the fire service. I had the opportunity to work on some legislation a couple of years ago. There are state fire academies in Crittenden, Arkansas. They've been living in dormitories there that's from the World War II era.
Wow.
That had not been maintained or upkept. So I had the opportunity to lead a team to lobby the governor's office. We got a bill passed over about 12 years ago to approve the build of a new dormitory there. However, if anybody knows how politics work and legislation works at the state capitol, they will always pass a bill, but if you don't have that second piece to it, that funding mechanism tied to it, it's not happening.
That's it.
Well, we had that happen to us. So 12 years later, we had the opportunity to lead a team to the governor's office, showing what we needed, showing why we needed it, and I was able to he awarded us $14.5 million to build a 2-story, 100-bed facility on campus for our fire academy in Camden, Arkansas.
Dang! Wow.
And it was a safety issue because our firefighters were living off campus. So bringing them back in campus was a safety issue.
Absolutely.
So that was. I hold that very dear to my heart and high on the list of achievements that I've had. Like I said, I want to use that experience there to the city, along with the city as a councilman here, to be able to lead teams in to get funding for our city.
Yeah.
So that's where I tie my public service with the firefighter to being able to run as a city councilman.
Man, that is very interesting. I never knew that. We've known each other for some years now, and I never knew that, so that's very interesting. And, just hearing what all goes behind it, certainly we understand that the legislative process or passing a piece of legislation is not something that happens quickly,
That's right.
But I think to hear it and to see that you've been part of the actual process and getting a piece of legislation passed, that's really interesting, and it reminds me of why I just sit here and talk to people who are running for offices, and it just seems extremely difficult. But yeah, I can see how that would be a huge accomplishment, and just being inside the Capitol, knowing how the lobbying process works, being able to have the support of a team and your men. That's awesome, Brad.
Yeah, Jeremy, the last podcast I watched of yours, you and your spouse was talking about mental health.
Absolutely.
This last session, 2 sessions ago, we've got mental health bills passed that require so much on a state level. When I'm elected to council, that's a part of my goal is to get the city on board with mental health. And people just say mental health is just to come on normal people. They don't see it in our first responders.
Wow.
Because our first responders hide it.
Yes.
So that's a goal of mine to get our city on board that, hey, we need more for mental health in our first responders.
Well, and thank you for highlighting that, because if you've ever tuned in, we have a range of topics, but we always, probably every 3 to 4 topics, we'll always come back and do an episode on mental health, because people were talking about the pandemic of COVID. Well, I'm not downplaying that, but people don't understand we have a pandemic of anxiety and depression and mental health things going on within people. So to hear you're advocating for that, that's very near and dear to my heart personally, because I've taken some certifications, not only Bible certifications, but also counseling certifications, because that's a lot of what I do outside of the podcast and things like that. So that's awesome. And hit on that for me. I know when you think about our servicemen and women, and of course we know that there's trauma, but you hit something very interesting, because I bet they do hide it. They probably don't. It's a hard thing to come out and say. So what?
Well, absolutely. Yeah. People think in a public service area with our police and fire, that's our heroes.
Yeah, exactly.
It's our heroes. So including our military, they're our heroes. So kind of boast yourself up. You don't want to talk about that. You want to hide because people see me as a hero.
That's it.
Well, it's time for our public to take care of our heroes when it comes to mental health, because they're hiding this, and it's affecting not only just them, not affecting their family at work, because we're a brotherhood. It's fire service is a brotherhood. It's affecting us at work, but it's also affecting that family.
Man, that's awesome.
We're seeing the separation of family because of things that's going on, what they might have seen at the job. It's causing mental health issues. It's affecting families. So it's very big in our line of work right now.
Absolutely. Brad, if you have the opportunity to get this role, what is one of the things you would do? Obviously, it's baby steps with things, but what is something you would implement right away to kind of help with this particular mental health situation?
Well, what I would advocate for on the city level is we've got to get a service on board where our public safety has somebody to call.
Awesome.
Not just a 1-800 help me, an actual company that deals in this day-to-day, everyday business that specializes in the mental health with public safety, public servicemen. That's something right now that we don't have in our city.
Wow. Yeah.
That needs to be there. You know, in my background, the insurance people always say, well, what, can't insurance cover that? Well, there's a lot of things that we think insurance should be able to cover. Yeah. We're big on obesity in this country right now, but yet our insurance won't cover a gym for our people to hit with that. So it's
you tell me about it. We both have a little bit of an insurance background, and you know there are tons of things that insurance should cover, but don't. And so very interesting. I like your plans. I like what you said, and I do think. Again, this is something that's very near and dear to me personally, just the subject of this and being able to help people. And those are great goals. It's something that I can certainly get on board with. But tell us a little bit more about the process. You know, what has been the most challenging and the most rewarding part of this? Because I know people want to know, okay, you know, if I look to do something, because I know a lot of times we inspire people without even knowing that we do. So if you had any advice, or maybe it's maybe you want to cast a vision of what you really are looking to do, what would that be, Brad?
Great question, Jamie. I would say probably right now the most challenging thing that I'm seeing right now in the election season is we've got people that's confused in our city, just the way our wards are set up. They don't know, hey, I don't live in your ward, I can't vote for you. So a lot of education issues are going on with it. People think we have a mayor's race. People think we don't have a mayor's race.
Exactly.
So it's affecting. I believe it's affecting turnout. So that's been the most challenging thing. I would say the thing that's best thing so far is people coming up to you and say, "Hey, thank you."
Wow.
Just thank you,
man.
I'm glad to see somebody stepping up. That it's not the old regime in the city.
Yeah.
How do you answer that? It's like
exactly.
Thank you.
That's awesome, man. That is awesome, Brad. It sounds like you have got a host of things that you've already accomplished. It sounds like you've got some great plans. You know, I'm a Crittenden County resident, so obviously I'm all about bettering Crittenden County. I'm not a Marion resident, so it's really easy for me to do these types of interviews because I don't have a dog in this particular fight. But I do enjoy these conversations, and I do enjoy being able to kind of hear people's ideas and providing a platform where maybe, you know, some others who are local here can kind of hear what your vision is for the city and what you hope to accomplish. So I see you got a little sign here. You want to hold that up?
Yes, sir.
Tell us a little bit about Election Day. Early voting has already started, and
early voting started yesterday. We got 2 polling sites for early voting. You got one here in Marion at the Marion Arena, and then if you live in Marion but you work in West Memphis, West Memphis First Baptist Church has got holding an early voting polling site this election cycle. Also, early voting will go through the November the 7th.
November the 7th,
and D-Day is November the 8th. Election day is November the 8th.
Wow. Goodness gracious, man. You got me on pins and needles. I enjoy boxing and MMA and all that. And the way, I don't know, the way this is kind of feeling like it's leading up to a big final match. But certainly, I know that the people involved and that are running, we wish you all well. Brad, I definitely wish you well, man. I hope that, things turn out, Lord willing.
Yes, sir. Lord willing, it'll happen.
Any final vision, any final thoughts that you'd like to give to anyone who might be listening to this, local or not?
Yeah. First of all, thank you for your support. The More for Marion team would like to thank you. Just remember, if you're ready for more growth, more transparency, more accountability, More for Marion is the best choice.
Awesome. Well, good deal, Brad. I appreciate your time here today, man. And we wish you luck on D-Day, as you called it.
Yes, sir.
Good luck, man.
Yes, sir, Jeremy. I can't leave without telling you thank you for what you do for this community.
Oh, man.
You've been a great part of this county for a long time and done some great things here. So we thank you for your...
Man, I appreciate that, Brad, and looking forward to serving Crittenden County just like you, man. So appreciate that.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. Stay abreast. I'll be posting results of what's going on in Crittenden County. And keep these guys lifted up in your prayers. We know it's a big sacrifice to serve the public. But again, we wish you well, Brad, and we'll be watching.
Thanks,
Take
sir.
care, man.